Well, we can start with some politics now. And the minority leader in Parliament, Osechi Mensah Bonsu, is calling for sanctions against Smarttys production for fraudulently inflating figures in the bus branding scandal. Now, he insists Smarttys must be blacklisted instead of being rewarded with new contracts for swindling the state.
Now, some of us thought that in the midst of this brouhaha, it was most imprudent for government to have allowed this to happen. Whilst the ink on the brouhaha had not dried up, the nation was completely agitated by the role that this company played. And even before we come to a final determination of the matter, we are allowing the same company to do this. There's something in what is called deterrence. Zoom Lion had won a contract in Liberia. The World Bank subsequently found out that the contract figures were padded a bit, and also that some of the works that they alleged to have done, they didn't really do it. So the World Bank blacklisted them. So they would not allow them into any bidding of any work whatsoever, being undertaking or being sponsored by the World Bank. And I thought that the least we could have done with this woman, with the Smarttys, was to have gone that route. Smarttys should be sanctioned. There's some sanctions should be applied. You not merely refund it, and then life must go on. It shouldn't be like that. As the Minister for Communication was saying, well, if he was involved in this, if they were involved, if the company was involved in this, you think another venture, they'll do the same thing. So minority, don't extrapolate. I wasn't extrapolating. And I'm saying that if we are serious-minded as a nation to fight corruption, if a person or company involves itself in this, there should be deterrence, there should be sanction. And in my view, for a business, the sanction should be not to allow the person or the company to bid for any government job again, at least for a while. Even if for 1 year or 2 years or 3 years, that is reasonable.
Go to courts, test the law, take government on. Now, these, according to the Chief Operation Officer of the UT Group, are what Ghanaians need to do to improve the quality of governance in the country. Now, speaking on Joy FM Super Morning Show in Accra, Captain Bodekumsin said the time has come for Ghanaians to force government to implement policies that will develop the nation.
Could we go to court? Could we actually even maybe take somebody to court on this?
I'm sure you can.
Yeah. We have to be a bit more assertive as a people. We have to take our destiny into our hands and ask, what can we do? And individuals should be interested in public issues like, well, who is going to take them to court and who is going to pay and whatever? People who can should stand up and say, look, I will test the law. I will take somebody or some group to court and find out, are they actually doing their best for us? You see, said Blatter looked so
invincible.
You know what he's charged with now?
Yeah.
Criminal mismanagement. Somewhere along the line, I'm going to ask some of you lawyers, that type of charge, is it available in Ghana?
Currently, I don't think so.
And if it is available in Ghana,
our best bet will be causing willfully causing financial.
You see, the system is stuck against you. We've made our laws such that it's almost not impossible, but it's so difficult for you to go after them, and that is it's almost getting to a class war. We have people who are in management of the state, that is our parliamentarians, our ministers, the
heads of departments and agencies,
the civil service. This is the ruling class and us. And it may come to that head. That class had made things so difficult to prosecute or investigate or come against them. Where is this bill? Right to information bill. Something. Where is it?
It's hanging around Parliament.
Government after government after government. In that instance, they are one. They will never pass it. Look, Omani Boama was asking, does the minority guy has any iota of evidence? God knows what. I mean, me as a private person, what evidence will I have to go and even prefer a judge when I don't even have the right to demand the details of this thing? They will deny us, and so therefore they will continue going. And I always advocate we have to be more assertive as a people, because we are too docile. We accept everything that is thrown at us.
Government needs to strictly implement its policies and strengthen mechanisms for revenue mobilization or face grave challenges next year. Now, that's according to governance expert David Agbe. Now, he says government was not transparent and accountable enough in 2015. He's also warning that the year ahead could be catastrophic if government does not launch a massive attack on corruption.
Let's look at the legislature, Parliament. We quite remember some debate between Parliament or members of Parliament, especially those in the minority, and who the President also responded to. Members of Parliament said, Mr. President, you're borrowing too much. And then Mr. President says, if you are the ones approving the loans and you come back and tell me we're borrowing too much, then you're sleeping on the job. And one of the issues recently we had to battle out with is the Ameri deal. Minority members on the Mines and Energy Committee said, we warned government that the deal should be $220 million and not 510. But government went ahead and they signed and approved that deal. And now they're asking for due diligence. But in essence, did Parliament do due diligence to most of the loans that was approved to government?
Aisha, let me tell you one thing, that Parliamentary Select Committee of Mines and Energy, their capacity need to be enhanced. They need to really sharpen their skills.
Is it only the select committees or the whole of Parliament?
Because you made mention of these Ameri thing.
Yeah.
If we want to do a total assessment of Parliament, their conduct, their behavior, their responsibilities, and all that, we could say that Ghana's Parliament hasn't been efficient.
Right.
Ghana's Parliament hasn't been efficient. We could say that there is a lot of gaps in parliamentary, businesses, because most of them, their capacity has not been actually built properly.
Okay.
And so we will have some of those challenges there. Specifically, when you go to the Committee of Mines and Energy,
right.
We could say we from Ghana Institute of Governance and Security, we've been privileged to be invited on 2 or more occasions to present a paper to them. We could say that the committee, like I said, we need to really strengthen their capacity. And strengthening their capacity, most of them has actually not been reading. All these stuff that came, this Ameri thing that came, they've not been reading. If they have been reading the documents that have been provided to them, they would have seen some of these flaws in the contract. But as soon as they pick the papers, they put it in their car boot, and that is the end of the day.
Is it not an issue of majority carries the day?
It
because one of the members we spoke with is on the minority side. He said that they actually read the document and they found loopholes, but they had their case, but the majority had their way, so the loan was approved.
I would say that we have been there. We've been invited on 2 or 3 occasions to present to them. When you meet the select committee, everybody has an opportunity to express his view here and there. They have the chairman, they have the deputy, you have Katie Hammer, you see Honorable Ahmed Sorgo, who is the chairman, you have Honorable Mutowakilu, you have almost the minority group, all of them. I mean, well-grounded people.
Right.
But one could say that they've not been reading enough. They've not been evaluating documents. You see, when you give them documents, you expect them to read and understand. But we don't think that the Select Committee of Parliament, they normally scrutinize documents, they read enough. So when they come to the committee level, it's just like Aisha has said certain things. So how do I also challenge you?
Right.
Or
but not really being
not
objective.
Trying to be objective, read document, do proper assessment of those documents to see the pros and cons of it, the benefits of it. We presented to them on the emerging upstream of oil and gas.
Right.
We were actually telling them that when it comes to oil and gas and management of our oil sector, we expected them to do more.
Right.
Because our checks and our investigation that we did, we realized that Ghana, we are almost benefiting, or our oil entitlement is less than 20%.
Right.
And so we were telling them that Ghana could get more than what we are getting now, because the foreign oil companies were earning almost about 10.7 billion, whilst Ghana, we were only getting almost about 3.2 billion.
Right.
So we said that the type of contract that you guys have actually signed, the Parliamentary Select Committee or the Parliament has actually signed, is inimical to the success story of this country.
Right.
We want them to improve the contract. Some of the contract should be looked at again, so that Ghana will actually get at least 40% or 50%. Because wherever oil has been discovered, in Arab countries or African countries or wherever, that country needs to get at least 45% or 50%.
Right.
But here we are, Ghana is only getting 20%.
And away from that, the Kolebu Hospital Senior Staff Association have been protesting this morning, re-echoing their calls for the dismissal of the hospital's Chief Executive Officer, Gilbert Backel. Now, earlier this month, the Senior Staff Association of the hospital passed a vote of no confidence in the Chief Executive. Joining us is Michaela Anderson is at Kolebu and joins us with more. Hello, Michaela. Good morning. Thanks for your time. Now, tell us about the atmosphere now at Kolebu.
Chanchahini, as you can hear, the cacophony of sounds behind me. There's so much activity here at Kolebu. What is happening is that some members of the Senior Staff Association of Kolebu are embarking on what they call a solidarity march to respond to a query from management against some executives of the association. Like you mentioned earlier that some executives of the association called for the removal of the CEO, Dr. Gilbert Backel, for non-performance. And just last week or so, the management of Kolebu also called another meeting to dismiss the calls by some members of the association. And they wrote a query letters to some executives of the association for coming out to demand the resignation of the CEO. So what is happening this morning is that the executives of the association have issued a response, for lack of a better word, to the query from management. And this morning they marched peacefully right through the principal streets of Kolebu to the administration block to present the response to management. They just finished doing that, and they are marching back to their various offices to work. So that is what is happening here at Kolebu.
Michaela, do you have details of this particular response they presented to management, and what does it entail?
The president of the association, Mr. Charles Ofe.
Okay, so Michaela Anderson's line just stripped there. We'll try and raise her back on the line and then get some more answers from her. But like I said, Michaela Anderson is at Kolebu Teaching Hospital, where this morning some members of the Senior Staff Association have been demonstrating over quite a number of issues. Well, they say it's actually a solidarity march in response to queries from management to some of their members seeking to find out why they embarked on the earlier action in the first place. That's the earlier action in the first place. Michaela Anderson is back on the line. We can speak to her now. Michaela, if you can hear me, I was asking of the details of this particular response these members of the Senior Staff Association of Kolebu Teaching Hospital have sent out to management.
Well, Chanchahini, the president of the association, Mr. Charles Ofe Tam, wouldn't tell us the details of the response. He says that the president of they've given the response to management of Kolebu, and they think they are in a better position to relay the information to the media, but they wouldn't speak on record or anything about what they've told management in that letter.
Right. Many thanks for that update. And Michaela Richard Anderson is our correspondent. She was live on the grounds at the Kolebu Teaching Hospital. We'll bring you much more on this subsequently. But time now for us to take a break on News Desk. When we come back, we'll bring you a lot more shortly.